Good morning. This is another recording for my students taking vocabulary development. As for today's lecture, is going to be about the time and all the expressions that can be used so that we can describe the time. Let me share the screen with you so that we can go straight to our lecture. Okay. This is the book, Academic Vocabulary in Use. Yes, here we go. And today's lecture is going to be on page 67. Okay, this can be found on 67. All right, time, periods of time. So let's see. Let's look at this. Period of times. A century. What's the meaning of a century? 100 years. Okay. A decade. A decade is 10 years. An annual conference is one that happens every year. A quarterly journal is one that comes out 4 times a year. An era is a particular period of time that is marked by special events or developments. For example, the post-war era, an era of rapid social change. Okay, a phase is any stage in a series of events or process of development. A phase or stage can be initial, which is beginning, intermediate, which is middle, or final. So a stage or a phase is, again, a phase is what? Is any stage in a series of events or process of development. So a phase or a stage can be initial, beginning, intermediate, middle, or final. It may also be described as preceding. The meaning of preceding is what? Happening before now, or current, happening now, or at the moment, critical, particularly important, or transitional meaning in the process of change, Okay, that was A. B, adjectives relating to time. Okay, let's look at that. We have this table and we have these 3 columns. As the first column, it's about the adjectives that can be used with the time, okay? And then an example, and the last column is about the meaning, okay? So the first adjectives that can be used with the time is what? Concurrent, okay? There were concurrent riots in several northern towns. There were concurrent riots in several northern towns. So what's the meaning of concurrent riots? A riot is a kind of demonstration, when people are getting out to the streets demanding for their rights. I mean, workers, for example, if some workers work in a company and they would believe that they are not receiving the wages or the amount of money that they are receiving is not enough, and the company should pay them more, then they will start demonstrating and causing this kind of rights, So the example here tells us what? Tells us that there were concurrent riots in several northern towns. Concurrent, it means what? Occurring at the same time, something that would happen at the same time. So we can see that there are several northern towns in which demonstrations in them at the same time, occurring at the same time. These demonstrations or these riots occurring at the same time. They are concurrent riots happening at the same time. Okay, this is the first adjective that can be used with the time expression, okay? So as for the second example, contemporary, okay? I studied all the contemporary accounts of the battle I could find. Again, I studied all the concurrent accounts of the battle I could find. Joe is researching contemporary, sorry. Joe is researching contemporary music, meaning dating from the same period existing now. Okay, the eventual cost of the project is likely to exceed 1 million euros. The eventual cost of the project is likely to exceed 10 million euros. Okay, eventual meaning of eventual, happening or existing later, after effort or problems. Happening or existing later, after effort or problems. Forthcoming, another adjective that can be used with the time, which is forthcoming. My article will be published in the forthcoming issue of the New Scientist. So we're talking about an article, my article will be published in the forthcoming issue of the New Scientist. An article will, if you are a journalist and you used to write articles in a specific journal or newspaper, so you would expect that your article that you have written to be published soon, right? To be published soon in the forthcoming issue, in the coming issue of this newspaper. Okay. So forthcoming, it means it's going to happen soon, happening soon. When you are writing an article and you have sent this article to that newspaper, you would expect that the article will be published in the next issue or forthcoming issue. So it's going to be soon. Okay, and this your article will be published soon. So happening soon. Forthcoming, it means happening soon. Okay, ongoing, another adjective. Forthcoming, we said that forthcoming. We said that article will be published in the forthcoming issue of the newspaper. Ongoing is another adjective. Helen has a number of ongoing projects. Helen has a number of ongoing projects happening now. Ongoing, it means happening now. Okay, simultaneous. There were simultaneous concerts in several towns of several cities. There were simultaneous concerts in several cities happening at the same time. So concerts, kind of, when you have a party or something and you want to invite people to that party or something, and you would love to bring some singers so that it will be a kind of concert. It will be a kind of concert. So we're talking about there were simultaneous concerts in several cities happening at the same time. Okay, subsequent, the book exams, the were and the subsequent changes in society. The book exams, the were and the subsequent changes in society happening after something else, meaning happening after something else. Okay, successive governments would face similar problems. Successive governments would face similar problems happening immediately after something else, happening immediately after something else. Successive. Okay. Temporary. What's the meaning of temporary? Georgia got a temporary position at the university. Georgia got a temporary position at the university, meaning not for a long period, not permanent. So temporary, it's the opposite of permanent. So something permanent that you stay for good or forever, permanent. It's permanent. However, when it comes to the temporary, it's for a short time, not for a long time, or for not for a long period or for a long time, but for a short period of time. For a short period, it's temporary. Like the example, Georgia got a temporary position at the university. It's not a kind of permanent position. It's a temporary one. Okay. How times change? How times change? In recent times, particularly the last 20 years, society has gone through a period of considerable change. Prior to the 1990s, very few people had access to home computer. Nowadays, okay, we want to look at nowadays here because we can spot number one above nowadays, meaning that a definition of this word can be found under this text. Okay, so let's start from the beginning and then we will see nowadays so that you can see the definition. So in recent times, particularly in the last 20 years, society has gone through a period of considerable change. Prior to the prior to the 1990s, very few people had access to home computer. Nowadays, the majority of homes have at least one computer. So nowadays it means meaning at the present time. So at the present time, okay, all of this has to do with nowadays, okay? All of this has to do with nowadays. Okay, let's see that. Nowadays, at the present time, used to compare with the past, particularly in spoken English or more informal writing, more informal writing. So this is the meaning of nowadays. So it means that at the present time, and it is used to compare with the past, present with the past, comparison between the present and the past, particularly in a spoken English or more informal writing. So nowadays, okay. So nowadays, the majority of homes have at least one computer. This expansion in home computing has coincided with the emergence of internet technology. Okay, we'll see that. This expansion in home computing has coincided with the emergence of internet technology. Coincided with number two, coincided with it, meaning happened at the same time as, okay? Coincided with, happened at the same time as, coincided with the emergence. Number three, emergence, appearance, okay, with the emergence appearance. So this expansion in home computing has coincided with the emergence appearance of internet technology. At the moment, we are at the stage where the situation is still evolving. We are on a stage. We are at a stage where the situation is evolving, meaning gradually changing, evolving, gradually changing. It's a kind of step-by-step changing, okay? Gradually, step-by-step. So at the moment, we are at a stage where the situation is still evolving. Subsequent generations will live in a very different world, although we don't know exactly how things will develop over the next few years. In the near future, or least of all, in the distant future. Okay. Near future, which is number 5, at the time which is not far away. Okay. So subsequent generations will live in a very different world, although we don't know exactly how things will develop over the next few years. In the near future, okay, at a time which is not far away, or least of all, in the distant future. Far away in the future. Okay, far away in the future. I hope the text was clear. Okay, let's see that. Sometimes words, for example, early, late, daily, can be both adverbs and adjectives. For example, an early, late, daily meeting. We met early, late, daily. Okay, so basically here it's a kind of comparison between the adjective and adverb. Okay, so these are some words: early, late, daily. They are telling us that these words can be used as adjectives, but can be used as adverbs as well. Okay, and here's the question: what is the difference between adjectives and adverbs? Simply, the adjectives are words would describe nouns, whereas adverbs, words would describe verbs. Okay, let me give you an example. So sometime words. By the way, we're not talking here about the adverbs of frequency when we say sometime. We are not talking about sometime. sometime words. Some words are related to the time. We're not talking about sometime, usual, never, always. These are the adverbs of frequency. We are talking about some words that are dealing with time. Okay, sometime words like early, late, daily. Okay, so when we say that these words can be used as adjectives, and we said that adjectives are words that would modify the noun or would describe the noun. For example, when I say a smart child, so a smart is an adjective, right? And would describe the child, or which is a noun, okay? So a smart child, when we say an old car, for example, another example, an old car. So it means this car is old. So this old is an adjective and would describe what the car is a noun, right? So always adjectives would describe the noun. And when it comes to the adverb, they would describe the verb, not the noun. Like when we say, for example, she speaks loudly. Okay, she speaks loudly. Loudly here would describe what? Would describe the way that she speaks. So the way that she speaks. So we are talking about the verb here. We're talking about the speaking as a verb. She speaks loudly. We are not talking about the girl. We're not talking about the girl, but this adverb, which is loudly, would describe the way that she speaks. Or when we say that she sings beautifully, for example, or he sings beautifully, okay? Beautifully here, and we need to distinguish between the beautiful as an adjective and beautifully as an adverb. So, and the word beauty is a noun, beauty as a noun, but if beautiful is an adjective, beautifully is an adverb. So she sings beautifully, or he sings beautifully. Now, beautifully here would describe the way he sings, right? The way he sings. We are not describing the person himself or the noun itself, rather we are describing his action or the verb. So adverbs always would modify, would describe the action, the verb, whereas the adjective would describe the noun. I hope it's clear. Let's go back to these three words, these time words, okay? Early, late, daily. Can be both adverbs and adjectives. For example, an early meeting, look at the meeting, an early meeting, or we can say a late meeting, or we can say a daily meeting. Or here meeting can be is a noun, and by saying early meeting, so early here would describe what the meeting, which is a noun. Okay. Some of you might say this is not a noun; it's a verb plus ing, because meet is a verb and plus ing. Okay. Yes, what you said can be right when we are talking about tenses, because especially if we are talking about the continuous, present continuous, past continuous, and future continuous, as well as present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, and future perfect continuous. These six tenses have to do with the verb plus ing. Verb plus ing. So whenever there is a verb plus ing, it can be seen as a verb plus ing when we are talking about tenses. However, when we are dealing with these words, for example, early, late, daily, and then meeting, here this verb plus ing should be treated as a noun. Should be treated as a noun, not as a verb plus ing. And by the way, in grammar, they would call this gerund. A gerund is a kind of a verb plus ing, but should be treated as a noun. This is very important. It should be treated as a noun. So when it comes to this word meeting, forget all about the verb plus ing and deal with this word as a noun. Okay. So here, this word early would modify or would describe the meeting. Okay, which is a noun. Okay, so it's an early meeting, or a late meeting, or daily meeting that happens every day. So as you can see here, since these two words would describe the meeting, which is a noun, so we are talking about adjectives, right? However, we met early, we met late, we met daily. Here, these two words would modify what? Met. Met is the past of meet, right? Which is a verb. Verb meet. It is just in the past. When we say we met early, so here early would describe the meet, the meet here. It's in the past, as I said. The meet is a present. Meet is the past. However, we met early. So here early we describe the verb met, okay? So it's an adverb. It's an adverb. It's not. It's an adverb. Yes, we met early. We met late. We met daily. Okay, so I hope it's clear the difference between adjectives and adverbs. Again, adjectives would describe nouns, whereas adverbs would describe meetings. Okay, like the example that I gave earlier when I said that he sings beautifully. Beautifully, we describe the way that she sings or he sings. Okay, so we met early. The early would describe the way we met. It was early. Okay, met early. So describe the met, the verb. Okay, but nowadays, is only an adverb. When it comes to this word, this is the time word. Nowadays, it can be only adverb. It cannot be adjective. Okay, nowadays is only an adverb. We talk about present problems, present day problems or current problems, but not nowadays problems. But not nowadays problems. Okay, I hope that was clear. Let me now go to the exercises and see what's in them. Okay, let's look at. Okay, let me read these emails sent out to staff and postgraduate students from the university. Complete the time expressions you can give. You are given in the first letters. Okay. Okay, these are 4 emails that were sent to postgraduate students and staff. Okay, students when they are at university, they will be given university emails, and every now and then the university would send them emails to tell them about the things that have to do with the university and with their study. Okay, so this can be seen as one of these emails. Okay. With these emails sent out to staff and postgraduate students from the university. Okay, complete the time expressions. You are given the first. You are given the first letters. Okay, so we need to complete these emails, and the first letter was given to us. The first letter was given to us. Okay, you are given the first letter, and we need to complete them by using time expressions. Time expressions. Okay, what I want for you to do is to stop this this recording for some time and to give yourself a chance to think about the right time words or time expressions that can be used so that we can complete these emails. Okay, I want you to do that, and after that, after 5, 10, 15 minutes, you can watch the recording and see how this can be solved or how this can be answered. Okay, let's look at the first one. I hope that you have stopped the recording and now you came back so that you would see how to answer these ones. Okay, so the I was given to us, but we need to complete that with the time expression of the construction of the new sports center will begin on the 1st of March. From that date until completion of the works, the West Car Park will be closed. Okay, so the first time expression that can be used is the initial. Okay, the initial what? The initial phase. The initial phase. And this is the time expression. The initial phase of the construction of the new sports center will begin on the 1st of March. From that date until the completion of the works, the West Car Park will be closed. At what? What do you think about this one? At what? At, let's see that. At a temporary, not at, sorry, a temporary car park will be available during the period at Campus East. Okay, so a temporary car park will be available during the period at Campus East, and a new permanent car park will be opened when the final stage of construction of the center is completed. Okay, so these are the time words that the right time words, time expressions that can be used so that we can complete this email. Okay, so the initial phase of the construction of the new sports center will begin on the 1st of March. From that date until the completion of the works, the West Car Park will be closed. A temporary car park will be available during the period at Campus East, and a new permanent car park will be opened when the final stage of construction of the center is completed. Okay, that was number one. And these are the time, as I said, the time expressions that can be used. They can be used to complete the first email. As for the second email, due to what? Due to, and the first letter was given. The first letter of the time expression was given to us. Due to what? Technical problem, emails with large attachments may not be accepted by the university server. Okay, due to ongoing technical problems, emails with large attachments may not be accepted by the university server. This is likely to continue during the this is likely to continue during the transitional period while a new server is being installed. While a new server will be is being installed, this will reach a critical stage next week when problems may be greatest. We apologize for the inconvenience. Okay, that was the second email. The third email, please report by 29 July 2007 all publications for the current academic year, including forthcoming papers and books with the expected date of publication or the expected date of publication. These are needed for the universities. These are needed for the universities annual report for 2007. Include any publication include any publication from the preceding year, which is 2006, which was not published at that time, but which has since appeared. So please report by 29 July 2007 all publications for the current academic year, including forthcoming papers and books with the expected date of publication. These are needed for the university's annual report for 2007. Include any publication from the preceding year 2006, which was not published at that time, but which has since appeared. Okay, so that was the third email. The fourth and the last email, how this can be done. Let's see. The university today celebrates what is the time expression that can fit this place. The university today celebrates a century of research. 100 years ago this month, the Center of Medical Research was officially opened. In the last decade, alone, 5 major new research centers have opened, a record for a 10-year period. We look forward to the start of a new era. of research over the next few years, for the next few years. Okay, that was the first exercise. All right, that was the first exercise. Let's go to the next exercise that we have here. Choose the correct words in italics to complete these sentences. Choose the correct words in italics to complete these sentences. Okay, sentences were given to us and we need to underline or to choose the words that written in italics so that we can complete these sentences. Number one, okay, let me first try to pick up the underline. Sorry for this. I guess this one. This has to do with I don't know. Just this one. Yeah. In or at the moment I'm writing up my thesis. I hope to finish in the next or in the near or the next future. Okay, what do you think about this sentence? What do you think about this sentence? Is it in or at the moment? We cannot say in the moment, right? At the moment. So at the moment, yeah, at the moment. This color is not clear enough, so it's not. Yeah, this one is better. Yeah, at the moment. At the moment, okay. At the moment, I'm writing up my thesis. I hope to finish in the. Is it in the near future or in the next future? We cannot say in the next future. We can say next day, next week, next month, next year, but we cannot say next future. But near future, in the near future. And we come across this word in the near future. Do you remember the article? Just let me remind you, by going to the article in the near future and the distant future, we came across this one very quickly. Let me go back to the, yeah, here it is, in the near future, yes, in the near future, yes, in the near future. And we said that number 5, meaning of the near future, where is number 5? Yes, at the time which is not far away, so it's in the near future. We cannot say in the next future. Okay, so near future. Okay, so at the moment I'm writing up my thesis. I hope to finish in the near future. Number 2, our research is, so our research is at or in an intermediate ongoing stage. We now need to analyze our data. So our research is, which one is the right, at or in? An intermediate or ongoing stage. So our research is at. Okay, is at an intermediate stage. Why? Because we can go to we're talking about what? Research, okay? We're talking about research. So we are in an intermediate stage, okay? Intermediate, we are in intermediate, we are in intermediate stage. We are in intermediate stage, yeah. We now, so our research is at an intermediate stage. We now need to analyze our data. So when you are writing a research or your research project, for example, and you will get to a point where it is an intermediate stage. So where you need to analyze your data that were collected, or the data that was collected. So you need to analyze that. So it is at an intermediate stage. Okay. So our research is at an intermediate stage. We need to analyze our data. That was number 2. Number 3, the emergency or the emergence. So which one is right? Let me read both and then we will see which one is right, okay? The emergence of internet technology has transformed the travel industry. Is it the emergency or the emergence of internet technology has transformed the travel industry? The emergence, okay? The emergence, I didn't like this one. Let me use this one, is much better. The emergence, yes, the emergence of the internet, the emergence of internet technology has transformed the travel industry. Okay, number 4, the university has. Is it the university? Is it the university has gone or got through? So the university has gone through, or the university has got through a period of great change in the latest or last decade. So what do you think about this? What are the words that are being written in italics? The right words written in italics for this sentence. The university, I guess the university has what? Has gone through. Has not got through, has gone. Yeah. Has gone through. Yes, has gone. Yes, has gone. The university has gone through a period of great change in the last decades, in the last decades, not latest decade, in the last decade. So the university has gone through. So what? Yeah, the last decade. Yeah, this one is not needed because it's not in italics. So we're not talking about decades. We're talking about the last. So again, the university has gone through a period of great change in the last decade. That was number 4, right? Number 5 now. Number 5, in the far or in the distant future. These are the 2 words written in italics, and we need to choose the right one. In the far future or in the distant future, scientists may be able to cure almost all common diseases. We cannot say in the far future, in the distant future. And we come across this word, right? In the distant future. In the text, if you remember the text, in the distant, so what's this? In the distant future, okay? Distant future. And just let me go to the, I want to go to the text so that just to refresh your memory about the distant future, not the far future. Okay. Yes, we said, where is that? In the distant future. Yeah, here we go. In the distant future. We didn't say meaning. So when it comes to the meaning, yes, far away in the future, far in the future as a meaning. But the way that should be put in the distant future, not in far away in the future, okay? So in the distant future, okay? It's clear, in the distant future. Okay, now let's go back to number 5. Okay, so number 5, in the distant future, some scientists may be able to cure almost all forms of diseases. Number 6, antisocial behavior. Antisocial behavior is a nowadays problem or a problem nowadays in many big cities. Okay, what do you think about this one? Antisocial behavior is a nowadays problem or a problem nowadays in many big cities. What do you remember? What do you remember about nowadays or nowadays problem or a problem nowadays? we come across this word and we talked about it, right? We talked about that. Let me just go back to, okay. But nowadays is only an adverb. Nowadays is only an adverb, and it's nowadays. So we talk about present problems, present day problems, current problems, but not nowadays problem. So you cannot say nowadays problem. Nowadays problem cannot be used. Okay, nowadays problems cannot be used. So it's not nowadays problem. So antisocial behavior is a nowadays problem, is a problem nowadays, because nowadays problem cannot be used. Okay, so this is the right one. Okay, so okay, let me just yes. Okay, antisocial behavior is a problem nowadays in many big cities. Is a problem nowadays in many big cities. Okay, I hope it's clear. I hope that was clear. Number 7, a series or a serial of events occurred in 1986, which changed the political climate in the country. In consequent or subsequent years, 2 new parties were formed, which became engaged in concurrent or eventual attempts to win over votes. Okay, it's a long sentence, and there are so many things that we need to underline. Many things that we need to underline. Let's see that. So a series or a serial is a series of events, and we talked about the series of events at the beginning of the lecture. So it's a series of events, not a serial of events. Series of events. Okay, series. We talked about that. You can go back to the previous page where you can see this. Okay, so in case you want to make sure of this. Okay, let me get rid of this. It doesn't work. Series of, let's see, let me use this one. Okay, a series of events occurred in 1986, which changed the political climate in the country, and subsequent years, okay, and subsequent years, okay, let me see. Yeah, okay, this is what I want. In subsequent years, 2 new parties were formed, which became engaged in concurrent or eventual attempts, and concurrent events happening at the same time, and concurrent attempts to win over votes. Concurrent events. Concurrent attempts to win over votes. So as we say, concurrent. Yeah. All right. So it is concurrent attempts to win the vote. That was number 8. Number 7. Number 8. Prior. So what do you think about number 8? Prior. Prior of or to 2001. Prior of or prior to 2001. It's a prior to, and this can be found as well above. This can be found. All of these things can be found above. If you want to make sure of something, just go back to the previous page where all of this can be found. Okay. For me, I cannot keep going up and down. It's going to take a lot of time, because and this is what I'm trying to avoid. So I cannot every now and then keep going up and down. But it can be found above. If you want to make sure of something, go back to the previous page where the lecture was explained, and all of these things can be found. Okay, prior to, not off. Okay, Prior to. Let me see if I can put that. Okay, prior to. It's gonna take a lot of time by underlining these things. Okay, but it's a prior to. It's a prior to 2001. The industry was unregulated. The industry was unregulated. In recent or in the last years, in the recent years, not in the last year, in the recent years, however, the government has introduced new regulations. So, number A, prior to 2001, the industry was unregulated. In recent years, however, the government has introduced the new regulations. The last sentence that we have is yes, number 9. In 1968, a monetary crisis coincided with or to a huge budget deficit, and most contemporary or temporary political commentators warned that the eventual or forthcoming cost of the nation would be enormous. Okay, let's see that. In the 1968, the monetary crisis coincided with, and we have seen that above, coincided with. Go back to the article, and you will see coincided with, not coincided to. Okay, so it is coincided with. Go to the text above. Go to the text above. Okay, in the 1968, a monetary crisis coincided with a huge budget deficit, and most. Is it contemporary or temporary? Contemporary. Okay, political commentators. Because you cannot say temporary political for temporary. It's the opposite of permanent. Temporary, so it can be used for a position of something. And the example that was given that she's got a temporary position in the university. Georgia got a temporary position in the university, not for a long period, not permanent. Yes, this can be found above as well, and it was explained. So it's not temporary, but contemporary. So contemporary political commentators warned that the eventual cost, the eventual cost, and we come across this eventual cost above as well when we talked about the eventual cost of the project is likely to exceed 10 million euros. We talked about the example of the eventual cost of the project is likely to exceed $10 million. This can be fundable. So eventual cost, the eventual cost of the nation would be enormous. So again, in 1968, monetary crisis coincided with a huge budget deficit. Let me. A huge budget deficit. Okay, a huge budget deficit. Yeah, and most contemporary political commentators warned that the eventual cost of the nation would be enormous. Okay, that was the second exercise. Let's go to the last exercise that we have for today. Okay, let's go to the last exercise, which is this one. Yeah, fill in the missing forms. Do not fill the shaded boxes. No, use a dictionary if necessary. Okay, so we've been given a table. Okay, basically all of these are words. Okay, a word can be seen in a form of a noun or in a form of a verb, in a form of an adjective, in a form of an adverb. It can be a preposition as well. So it can be different forms. Words can be seen or can be come in different forms. Okay, here we've been given some of these words in a form of a noun, like the emergence is a noun. And in this case, we need to find the verb of this noun and the adjective and the adverb in case there was an adverb, because in certain words, certain words don't have adverbs. Other words don't have verbs, like eventual, which is an adjective, but it doesn't have a verb. It has a noun and it has an adverb, but eventual never have a verb. Okay, so as I said, so if in case a noun was given, then a verb and the adjective and the adverb should be written. But for example, in the an adjective was given to us, like eventual and successive. In this case, we need to search for the verb and the noun and the adverb. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's start with the nouns. Okay, the only noun that was given to us is the emergence. So emergence as a noun. What's the verb of emergence? So what do you think of this one? If you want to depend on yourself, you can stop the recording right now and go and open your dictionary or use the Google dictionary so that you can find the noun or the adjective or the adverb of these words. Okay, and then you can come back and then watch this recording so that you find out. To find out the right answer. Okay, so the noun is emergence. What's the verb of emergence? It's emerge. The verb is emerge. Okay, emerge is a verb. Emergence is a noun. Okay. What about the adjective of emerge or emergence? What do you think about the adjective? It is emergent, right? It's emergent. It is emergent. Yeah, it is emergent. But this one doesn't have an adverb. Emergence as a noun, or emerge as a verb, or emergent as an adverb, adjective, it doesn't have an adverb. So there is no adverb for emergent or emerge or emergence. Okay, no adjective, no adverb. Only noun, verb, adjective. Okay. Let's go to the verbs now and evolve. Evolve is a verb. So what do you think about the noun of evolve? What is the noun of evolve? It is evolution. Evolution. Evolution is the noun of the verb evolve. Okay. And what do you think about the adverb? What do you think about the adverb of evolve or evolution? Evolutionary. Evolutionary is the adjective. Evolutionary is the adjective of evolve or evolution. Again, this word doesn't have an adverb. This word doesn't have an adverb. Okay, evolutionary doesn't have an adverb. Okay, coincide is another verb. Coincide. We come across this word above. So coincide is a verb. What's the noun? What's the noun of coincide? It is coincidence, right? It is coincidence. Coincidence is a noun. Coincide as a verb. What about the adjective? Coincidental. Coincidental. Yes, coincidental is the adjective. This word has an adverb. So coincidence as a noun, coincide as a verb, coincidental as an adjective. What's the adverb? What's the adverb? Coincidentally. 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 Okay, so we are done with the nouns and the verbs now. Okay, and now let's search for for the adjective. Okay, we have this word eventual. Eventual is an adjective. This adjective doesn't have a verb. No, by the way, it doesn't have a verb. There is no verb for eventual, but there is a noun and there is an adverb. So what's the noun of eventual? What's the noun of eventual? It is eventuality. It is eventuality. Okay, it is eventuality. And what's the adverb of eventuality or eventual? What's the adverb? Eventually. Eventually. Okay, eventually. Okay, another word which is successive. Successive. It's an adjective. This word is an adjective. Why? It's an adjective. It's an adjective. Okay, it's an adjective. What is the verb of this one? What is the verb of successive? Is what? The verb of successive is succeed. The verb of successive is succeed. Right? Oh, come on. I don't know, there's something wrong with my laptop. I don't know, there's something wrong. Okay. Succeed, yes. Successive as a noun, succeed as a verb. What is the noun of the successive or succeed? Succession. Succession is a noun. Succession is a noun. Succession is a noun. And what's the adverb? What's the adverb? Successively. Successively is the adverb. Successively is the adverb. Okay, I guess the last thing that we have is the period. Period as a noun. Period as a noun. This word doesn't have a verb. This one doesn't have a verb. Period. There's no verb for period, but there is an adjective and there is an adverb. What is the adjective and what is the adverb of period? The adjective of period is what? Periodic. It is periodic. Periodic is the adjective of period. And or the adverb of period or periodic is what? Periodically. Periodically. Okay. By saying this, we come to the end of the lecture of today. I hope it was beneficial, and hopefully to see you next time. Bye then. Assalamu alaikum. Okay.